All praise, all glory, our honors most certainly due to the Most High, the God of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to you in the name of Jesus. This is your brother Elisha Israel of the household of faith. Count it truly a blessing each and every time that I can come before you to preach the word of God. Never ever do I count it as a light thing to do so. Just a little bit about the household of faith. We currently meet at the house, at Indiana University Northwest Library Conference Center, room LC 105, 3400 Broadway, Gary, Indiana, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. As been announced and recently, that's going to change in the upcoming month, and I'll keep you posted on that. We found a location. We have purchased a location. We've been approved for a location, so we are just fixing up putting the last touches upon our new home. So I'll keep you again posted with that. We live stream our sermons, or excuse me, our services right here on the IsraelTeach YouTube channel, as well as on our website. Our website is www.IsraelTeach.org. What else? We have a radio show. It airs every Sunday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on WLTH 1370 AM, the region's choice. So if you want to listen to that, we also live stream our radio broadcast as well at www.IsraelTeach.org. Just simply click on the live stream radio broadcast link. And with that, I want to get right into today's lesson. And today's lesson, I was inspired, so to speak, by just looking at the news, and I saw an article, and it said that, and I'm gonna relate this to us as a people. It said that in Iceland, they have just built a temple and dedicated it to the god Odin. Now, if you don't know who Odin is the god that Wednesday, you get the word Wednesday from. Okay. Odin, some also relate Odin also to Santa Claus. Okay. So when I deal with Christmas, I deal more with Odin. Okay. But it just got me to thinking how we as a people, the God who manifested, the people who God manifested himself unto, have taken on all the false gods of other people, even idolatry. See, they say even we don't even realize that we dealing in that type of worship. And so we're gonna find out in this brief lesson, it's short, what Israel was told to do, what Israel did, which was idolatry, how God feels about it. And then we can understand why we're in a position in captivity. Right? How we got cast into captivity and why we still remain. We are in desperate need of a reformation. Okay? Spiritually dead people. But let's go to Exodus 20. Because this God who manifested himself unto us told us something. This is Exodus 20 and verse 1. It said, and God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of thy house of bondage. So this is that same God who manifested himself unto us. Not just that, but he delivered the people with a stretched out arm, with fury poured out, on eagle's wings. He brought them out of bondage. He says, I'm the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So that's once you know that there's a God. Now, the next step is to find out what this God requires of you. He says it. It's in the commandments, even in the 10. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Right? So the creation, you read in Romans 1, you read, the creation has shown man that God exists, but man has made idols. Man has served the creature more than the creator. Man has done these things and rejected the true and living God. This is what Israel, our people did. Israel did. It said, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Then he says, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Okay? So you're not supposed to do these things. It says, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children into the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So one thing about God, he has the same emotions that we have, only he applies his emotions appropriately. Right? He'll show you his love, and he showed tremendous love when he did what he did with his son. But God can also show hatred. He even said, I love Jacob and hated Esau. He can show hatred and he can be jealous. He's treating his church, was Israel, his church, like a man would his wife. It's a similar relationship, and he don't want you to deal with any other gods. Just like a man in the flesh, like a regular man, wouldn't want anybody, or wouldn't want, he'd be jealous over his wife, right? He wouldn't want another man to be with his wife. So it says, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, these graven images. It says, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers unto the upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Right? So he'll bring down tribulation and destruction upon you, and your children will feel it. One thing about it, when you're talking about individual salvation, that's an individual thing, right? Your father's sins ain't got nothing to do with your sins when it comes to your salvation. But when it comes to what nations have done, and when the Lord is bringing down judgment upon nations and destruction upon nations, yeah, it can impact your children. How you, just like we in this diaspora, we are in slavery up until even until this very day, based on what our forefathers did. So it says, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. And that's who he shows mercy to. And one of his main commandments, those who love him, and you show your love to God by keeping his commandments. So it says, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. This is how you love God. It is through obedience. But let's go to Exodus, Deuteronomy 7. Exodus 32, because immediately, even prior, they had made a covenant. The covenant was proposed in Exodus 19, keep my covenant. They understood, they didn't really understand, but they claimed to be willing to do all that the Lord said. Will we do and be obedient? And they came under the blood of the covenant, Exodus 24, right? But immediately, I believe we read that last lesson, but immediately, they went astray. And how did they go astray? They went astray in the realm of idolatry and dealing with some other gods. So this is Exodus 32 and verse 1. It says, and when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we what not is become of him. So he went into the mount to commune with God, and Israel, they want to deal in falsehood. They want to deal in idolatry. Listen, even if Moses was to go into that mountain to never return, you saw those plagues that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob brought down upon Egypt. You saw that Red Sea split. You saw the most powerful nation. Brothers and sisters, when you read about the wonders of Egypt, that's one thing. They were extremely advanced. It would take the power of God to bring them down. That's just like you can look at this country right now. It's extremely advanced, right? Extremely powerful when it comes to military. It's military science when it comes to its economy. But understand, nothing's bigger than God. Just like the Roman Empire fell before it, and the Greek Empire fell before it, and the Babylonian Empire fell before it, and the Egyptian kingdoms fell before that. Nothing's bigger than God. So he said, listen, the one that brought us out of Egypt, they saying it like Moses did it on his own by his own might. No, it was God. He used Moses. And it says, and Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people break off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron, and he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graven tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Now those weren't the gods. And see, this is what we have been doing even unto this day. This was a grave error that Aaron made. He was the high priest. He was in charge of the people. He was supposed to be helping to lead them spiritually, and he leads them astray. He leads them down the path of idolatry, down the path of destruction. And this is what our leaders, our spiritual leaders, so-called leaders, do in this very day through modern day Christianity. Christianity is simply based, the foundation of it is based on idolatry and paganism. Because it is birthed, modern day Christianity is birthed out of Catholicism. That's what it is. Whether you're a Baptist, Episcopalian, Lutheran, Apostolic, you sanctified and filled with the Holy, you Kojic, whatever. That mess, if you look at the traditions, they come out of Rome. You have a changes here and there, but ultimately you are a little whore, and the Catholic Church is the mother whore. And these spiritual leaders of our people lead us astray, just like Aaron did in this case. So he fashioned the golden calf and said, "These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt." Okay, and when Aaron saw, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made proclamation and said, "Tomorrow is a feast to the Lord." So now they're even worshiping. They created it. Now they're worshiping falsely this calf. Let's go to verse 7 to see how the Lord feels about this false worship. Because see, once you understand how the Lord feels about this false worship, when you understand how he feels about idolatry, it is a direct affront to him. You can understand why your position and your condition is not improving. I mean, as a people, you can understand that because we engage in similar false worship. We engage in the same false worship. So now this is verse 7. And the Lord said unto Moses, "Go get thee down, for thy people, which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves." He didn't even claim us at that point. He said, "Those people, Moses, that you brought out, they have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt." And the Lord said unto Moses, "I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people." What does it mean? Stubborn, hard-headed, hard-hearted, a heart of flint, people who refuse to hear the words of the Lord and obey. He said, "Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation." So understand, now they make the golden calf. Aaron says it's going to be a great feast. And then it says, in verse 6, it says, "They rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings and sacrifice, and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play." They're having a good time. They worshiping. It says in verse 8, "They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made a molten calf and have worshipped it, and said, that's the God that brought them up." And you don't understand. You see, even in these churches, right? Even if you don't have straight up idols in the church, in these black churches, many of these churches, so-called Christian churches, what you do have is you are still worshiping the God that you have concocted in your mind. You are still worshiping the Messiah that you made up from the vain imagination of your thoughts, because nothing that you are doing, or practically nothing that you are doing, can be read in the Bible in your worship. But then you calling his name. It's a similar thing. And understand how the Lord feels about idolatry. He says, "Let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot." He said, I will consume them all and make a nation out of you, Moses. So while they down there playing, while they down there worshiping the false God, they didn't understand that they were about to be consumed had it not been for Moses' intervention. Because understand, in keeping Moses alive, he could still fulfill the promise that he made to Abraham. He couldn't destroy the whole nation. No, he would have kept Moses alive. He'd had a seed out here and started the nation all over again. See, it's a travesty that we as a people worship falsely. And just culturally, the worship that we are engaged in is asinine. This holiday season coming up, why are you dealing in Christmas? Negro, first of all, it's idolatry, it's paganism, right? You got false worship galore. And it's evident that it's paganism. You want to do it for the kids, but that's not to your detriment spiritually. And then if you look at it from just a simple practical perspective, it is stupid because it's somebody else's culture. We don't. This is culture out of Europe. This is from Europe. A lot of it you can trace to Babylon, but it is root. But a lot of it is the customs, the direct custom, the evergreen trees, Santa Claus. This stuff is European. And third, you don't have any money. Why are you making, like every time I see it, I cringe. It's this sister. She is at one of these department stores, and I guess she got a deal, so she just dances. First of all, she looks like a buffoon dancing like that, how she's dancing. And then it's like, what are we doing? We lack so much wealth. We don't have wealth, true wealth, and we spending all our money on some paganism. All of it's to our detriment in every way, shape, or form. Spiritually, culturally, financially, is death. And the Lord told us to avoid this at all costs. So he says in Deuteronomy 7, that's where I'm at now. He says, when the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. He said, and when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriage with them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughters shalt thou take unto thy son. He tells you why. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. He says what you need to do. He said, but thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire. So all these things that they made in honor of their false gods that couldn't deliver them from me, that's what God is telling me. Destroy that mess. Why? Verse 6, for thou art an holy people, a sanctified people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Now he set us up above all people. And look what we did. Let's skip verse 24. He says, or verse 25, he says, the graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the gold or silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein. For it is an abomination unto the Lord thy God. Understand? He said, neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thine house, lest thou be a cursed thing like it. For thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it. That means to hate it. What is a cursed thing? So he's telling you these things are an abomination unto him. Let's go to Psalms, the 135th division. Because he tells you clearly how he feels about this type of false worship. This is Psalms 135. Psalms 135. And we're going to pick it up at verse 18. It's silly. He says something in verse 14. 135 and verse 15, excuse me, 135 and verse 15. He says, the idols of the heathen are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. Now he tells you something about these idols. He said, they have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Neither is there any breath in their mouths. They that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that trusted in them. You have nothing. Bless the Lord, O house of Israel. Bless the Lord, O house of Aaron. Bless the Lord, O house of Levi, ye that fear the Lord. Bless the Lord. Blessed be the Lord out of Zion, which dwelleth at Jerusalem. Praise ye the Lord. See, everything else is foolishness. Let's go to Isaiah 44. He tells you that directly. Isaiah 44. It's foolish to deal in this idolatry, but that's what we're doing wholesale. That's what we did in the wilderness, and we even continuing that until this day. This is Isaiah the 44th chapter, and we're going to pick it up in the 9th verse. Isaiah 44 verse 9. He tells you. He says, they that, in verse 9, Isaiah 44 verse 9 reads, they that make a graven image are all of them vanity, and their delectable things shall not profit. See, you're not going to profit from this foolishness. It says, and they are their own witnesses. They see not nor know that they may be ashamed. Who have formed a god or molten a graven image that is profitable for nothing? Behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed, and the workmen they are of men. Let them all be gathered together. Let them stand up. Yet they shall fear, and they shall be ashamed together. So shame is coming for this falsehood. And we have been shamed as a people. We have been destroyed as a people directly because of false worship. That's why. It said, a smith with the tongs both worketh in the coals, and fashioneth with the hammers, and worketh it with the strength of his arms. Yea, he is hungry, and his strength faileth. He drinketh no water, and is faint. The carpenter stretcheth out his rule. He marketh it out. He marketh it out with a line. He fitted it with planes, and he marketh it out with a compass, and marketh it after the figure of a man, according to the beauty of man, that it may remain in the house. So now he's made this false image. He made this idol. He heweth him down cedars, and taketh the cypress and oak, which he strengtheneth for himself among the trees of the forest. He planted an ash, and the rain doth nourish it. Right? Then shall it be for a man to burn. Now, this same thing you've taken to build an idol for, now you're burning it. For he will take the herb and warm himself. Yeah, he kindleth it. So now you kindling a fire with the same thing you made an idol with. You have lost your mind. It said, yea, he maketh a god. Well, it says, yea, he kindleth it and baketh bread. Yea, he maketh a god and worshipeth it. You falling down to something you was just throwing in the fire to keep you warm. Something you was just kindling to bake bread with. Now you worshipeth it. He maketh it a graven image and falleth down thereto. He burneth part thereof in the fire. With part thereof he eateth flesh. He roasted roast and is satisfied. Yea, he warmeth himself and said, aha, I am warm. I have seen the fire and the residue thereof. Now with the remainder of that, he maketh a god. Even his graven image he falleth down unto it and worshipeth it, and prayeth unto it and saith, deliver me, for thou art my God. Now you praying to something you just threw in the fire. That is asinine. They have not known nor under verse 18. They have not known nor understood, for he that shutteth their eyes that they cannot see, and their hearts that they cannot understand. You are blind. He says something that's key here. Verse 19, and none considereth in his heart or in the mind, neither is there knowledge nor understanding to say, I have burned part of it in the fire. Yea, I also have baked bread upon the coals thereof. I have roasted flesh and eaten it, and shall I make the residue thereof an abomination? Shall I fall down to the stock of a tree? I mean, when you really think about it, it's ludicrous. He feedeth on the ashes, the deceived heart have turned him aside, that he cannot deliver his soul, nor say, is there not a lie in my right hand? Remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee. Thou art my servant, O Israel. Thou shalt not be forgotten of me. So this is what Israel has done. And he tells you that these gods that you've made are not going to deliver you. This is Judges. Let's go to the book of Judges. So Israel, when they went into the land, they started worshiping falsely. And then when they worship falsely, the Lord would bring destruction, oppression from other nations upon the people. And he says something. This is 10 and 10. Judges 10 and 10. It says, I'm gonna read verse 9. Moses 10 and 9. It says, moreover, the children of Ammon passed over Jordan to fight also against Judah and against Benjamin and against the house of Ephraim, so that Israel was sore distressed. And verse 10 says, and the children of Israel cried unto the Lord. You cried out to God, help us, saying, we have sinned against thee, both because we have forsaken our God and also served Baalim. So now you serving Baal or Baal. It said, and the Lord said unto the children of Israel, did not I deliver you from the Egyptians? We started there, right? He said, I'm the Lord thy God, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. He said, and from the Amorites, and from the Ammonites, and from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, the Zidonians also, and the Amalekites, and the Maonites did oppress you, and ye cried to me, and I delivered you out of their hand. Yet, he said, I did all that for you. He said, yet ye have forsaken me and served other gods. He said, well, for I will deliver you no more. Go and cry. He said, so go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. I mean, that's fitting. Go ask them to deliver you. Isaiah 57. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 57. See, because you cried out now when you're in trouble, but you ain't been serving God. And that's how people are today. That's the same thing we're doing today. This is Isaiah 57. I want to read one verse here. Isaiah 57 and verse. Let's go. As a matter of fact, let's go to, actually, let's go. This will be the last place. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. Because here we sit in captivity. This is the last place. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 26. Because he tells us what was going to happen to his people. This is Moses telling in this song what's going to happen to Israel before they even go into the land. This is at Deuteronomy 32 and 26. He said, I said I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. So that's what happened to Israel. We were scattered and we lost our identity. And he said something, verse 36. He said, for the Lord shall judge his people and repent himself for his servants when he seeth that their power is gone and there is none shut up or left. And he shall say, where are their gods? Their rock in whom they trusted. Where your gods at? Which did eat the fat of their sacrifice and drink the wine of their drink offerings. Let them rise up and help you and be your protection. See now that I am he. So he's telling you, he said, hey, yeah, you in trouble. Why don't you go find those gods that you worshiping? And see, that's our problem even to this day. We calling on the God that we created in our minds, not the true and living God. That's the deception. They were deceived back here. Their foolish heart was darkened and dealing in idolatry. But we are extremely in darkness because these ministers, these false prophets are leading the people astray. And they are talking about they saying the Bible, get the Bible, acting as if they dealing out of the Bible. They leading you astray, even when they reading the Bible. That's just like Satan used scripture when he was dealing with the Messiah. You read in Luke 4. That's how they are. So, but they using it out of context. They leading you astray. And then they add traditions of men. So everything's messed up. He says, see, and this is what you should understand. He says, see now that I am he, and there is no God with me. Yeah, these false gods. I kill and I make alive. You bow down to a statue. He said, I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. And that's what people need to understand. See, this is the one you need on your side. He said, for I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. If I wet my glittering sword in mine hand, take hold on judgment. I will render vengeance to my enemies and reward them that hate me. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives from the beginning of revenge is upon the enemies. See, this is the true living God and what he can do. But your idolatry is nothing, and the consequences is that you have been forsaken by your God, and you need to abandon this falsehood and turn to him with a truly repentant heart and worship him in spirit and in truth. I want to thank you for your time. It's always my prayer that you will edify.